Here's a short overview of pronoun placement in French. Maybe you've nailed down what the different pronouns are, but haven't yet nailed down where they go. So first let's review what is a pronoun. A pronoun is a noun that replaces another noun. So usually something that's been referred to earlier in the sentence or conversation, and a pronoun is a faster or easier way to express that noun. Some examples of pronouns in English are me, it, him, or she. Now we can't include every pronoun in French on this list. So let's go over which ones we can deal with here. We can't deal with subject pronouns or relative pronouns because they have their special place in the sentence. But we can talk about reflexive pronouns, direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, and finally e and Okay, and so before we get started into where they go in the sentence, let's look at what happens if we have double pronouns. So first we're going to do the reflexive pronouns, and some of these can also function as direct or indirect object pronouns. They're still going to go in the first location. Then we have direct object pronouns, then indirect object, and then finally e and to form a nice little triangle. So now let's go over where they go in the sentence. Standard sentences in French are subject, verb, object. But there are different kinds of sentences when we're trying to put in the pronoun. So Formula 1 is going to be subject, pronoun, verb for when we just have one verb, like a present tense. Then we have subject, pronoun, verb 1, then what we call verb accent aigu for like a passé composé. Then we have subject, verb 1, pronoun, verb er for when we have the future proche. And then let's put the ne pas in. Usually the ne pas is going to go around the conjugated verb, but if the pronoun comes right before that conjugated verb, it squeezes in between the ne and the verb. So let's go over some sentences. So here we have Formula 1. We're dealing with the present tense or the future simple or the conditional, any tense where we have just one verb. For example, we have je téléphone à ma mère. The action is téléphoner, I'm calling, and I'm calling my mom. And since we have an à, we're dealing with an indirect object pronoun. We have je lui téléphone. Next, let's look at Formula 2, which is good for passé composé plus que parfait, or the past conditional. We have j'ai acheté la maison. So je l'ai acheté. We want to make sure that the past participle agrees with the direct object pronoun. And now for Formula 3. This is good for anytime we have an infinitive, so when we're using vouloir, pouvoir, devoir, or the future proche. For example, we have elle va lire le livre. That's going to turn into elle va le lire. Now let's do a different verb in here. We have elle peut regarder le film. That's going to turn into elle peut le regarder. And there you have it for pronoun placement in French.